So let's just get started. How did you get into the space?
So my background is actually in game development. I worked for a game technology middleware company for around 5 years. So we did we made technology for games texture streaming. I worked 5 years on that. So it had nothing to do with anything like financial or anything like blockchain related. But then in 2017, I heard about Ethereum. So I of course knew that Bitcoin existed, but I had no idea there were like more interesting blockchains than Bitcoin. So I of course knew like Litecoin and Dogecoin, or however you want to pronounce it, which are basically clones. But then they like Ethereum, which are like very interesting because you can program things on it. So it's like a lot more interesting for developers than just like Bitcoin, which it's pretty static. So that's how I learned about it in 2017. Then I started like looking into it a bit more, and then at the end of 2017, Loopring started an optimization bounty, which I joined, and like I was looking for an excuse to learn to program for Ethereum, and that was like my excuse to like really start looking at it, and that's how I like learned Solidity, and how I learned about Loopring, and then like a couple of months after it, like in the middle of 2018, I joined Loopring full time.
Awesome. Wouldn't you say game development is same kind of optimizations that you have in Loopring with similar level of thinking?
Yeah, I think it's basically always kind of the same. Either you do something like in a different way, or you can just find a way to like don't do anything at all, which of course is like the best
The
case
best,
scenario.
absolutely. Yeah.
But I think like the main idea is like for smart contracts optimizations, it's like a little bit different because you're like you have to look at the gas costs instead of like actual hardware. So you just have to be familiar with like this instruction costs this much gas, instead of like let's run it on a PC and just time it, and if it's like faster then it's great. But now it's like look at this fixed gas number, and if that goes down then it's a good change. But of course, now with with the zero knowledge proofs, with the new protocol release, we also had to do some optimizations also on the not in smart contracts but on normal PCs, like for game development. So yeah, it's kind of got to the same level of kind of like the normal optimizations, and not just on the smart contract level.
So in an earlier life, I actually started my career building protein optimization models. And at one point, I used to know the instruction cost, the instruction cycles of every single AMD 64 SIMD instruction. So I think, well, this is not very relevant anymore because I write Bash scripts and Python scripts today. But back then, that was pretty important. And so even simple things like how many cycles a dot product takes is kind of the similar philosophy you would have in caring about your programs.